Agents of Mayhem is a character-based tactical combat game by Academy Games. As you can see, there are lots of components, so I'm going to show you how to rebox it here today on Legendary Tactics. Agents of Mayhem Pride of Babylon is a really interesting tactical squad level, individual level battle game, but it has a bit of a twist in that it's very comic book like or video game like. It has some really great tactical decisions, but it also has a cartoony aspect which gives it a little bit of a twist and makes it quite unique in my opinion. The figurines here, you can see I like to store them in the tray, and it's always easiest just to suck them into the appropriate spots. The same thing with the dice as well. There's lots of dice, there's lots of figurines, there's lots of cards, there's these little pegs here that are used to build 3D terrain, which is delightfully destructible and collapsible, which I think is pretty awesome. But you literally build the terrain with stacking the cardboard modular boards with the stakes there. And there is a lot of story here. This is very much built on a narrative, and I think from what I have seen, I'm still getting just introduced to the game at this point. You'll want to follow the storyline, the campaign, and see how the characters develop and how the story develops as well. And so when we look at these player boards here, these have a really neat kind of economy with the cubes, and each of the cubes have different kind of abilities that represent focus or tech or speed and that sort of thing. And you spend the cubes to take certain actions. And what's really interesting actually is you can take the same back-to-back actions with characters, but as they become kind of gradually more exhausted, they become much less effective, and the ones that you aren't playing that particular round get to add cubes to their pool, so they actually become almost like they're rested or building up their abilities and charging up their tech or whatever. So it's a really neat kind of economy that way that encourages diversifying your movement and planning a kind of coordinated attack. But if you really need to, you can move the same character over and over again if it's going to meet your strategic goals. They have, as I said, a lot of modular boards here. You can see there's a lot of sort of highway things there that just to join the boards together, and and I imagine this would also be an amazing game to create your own scenarios if you're so inclined, because these type of games are very much like sandbox type things where you can really follow what's the prescribed path, or you can create something of your own and make your own adventures. So that's just a quick glimpse at some of the modular boards there and how they're laid out. We'll put that back in the box here and get everything arranged. And there's the cubes, and these are the different cubes that are spent to do actions. We'll just suck those back up into the bag. There's also a bunch of cards here that are kept in this box, so just throw these back in here. There's just so much in the way of components. I could have opened up all the cards and shown you, but man, it would have been a video that's way too long. We try and make these unboxing, reboxing videos less than 10 minutes just to make sure that they don't drag on too long, but there's so much here. Look at these figurines. These, again, another aspect that you could get into is painting these and really making the game come to life on your game table. So we're just going to put everything back in order here with the protective window thing, and everything fits together. You may want to reference this video if you're putting everything back together again, because everything fits together perfectly, but it's definitely like a bit of a Tetris situation here. They also have the sort of main characters here that as opposed to the sort of just the minions. They've got a sort of their own tray and all that sort of thing where you can save up their special abilities from game to game. And what's really interesting about the game is that both sides, they have Mayhem and the Legion side, and they're both actually awful people. There's no good guys and bad guys. It's all this moral gray area, and it lends itself to some interesting storytelling. You can root for your team, but just understand that they're pretty disgusting individuals, and so there's no real sort of moral lesson that's ever going to be taught by this game. But anyway, it does give the storytelling some interesting aspects. You can see again the nice figurines. Could be really fun to paint. It's not really my thing, but I totally get how people love painting their figurines. They've got all these sort of the skills and abilities and bonuses and all sorts of stuff here that you can see. There's a lot of counters, but there's a lot of opportunity to grow your character as the games go on, as you work through the campaign. And the game is very tactical. It is, even though it does have a cartoony video game kind of feel, you can do big jumps and so forth. At the end of the day, it is, if you're interested in games that actually have a bit of a tactical lesson to them, that you can actually pick up on some small scale squad level infantry tactics, this game would have some interest for you. There's also an AI called Athena, and it's essentially a deck of cards that, well, I've read it's a little bit fiddly. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. It does actually respond to your play in the sense of trying to guess your objectives, trying to stop you from hitting your objectives. The moves are based on how you are playing and how you are affecting the game state, and that is going to change the response of the AI. And I know that the designer spent a lot of time on that particular AI. Now you can see the character cards here as well, and just get a sense of their abilities and their backstory and what they bring to the table for both teams. Yeah, we've got, again, just lots of components. This game has a fairly big footprint, and you're going to want to make sure you've got a decent sized table to accommodate it, as well as the fact that you can play up to 4 players for this game, so you want to make sure you have room. And you can see there are a fair number of rules. It's not actually that hard to follow. The rules are very clear, good examples of play. I don't think it's that hard a game to play, but it is a bit of an investment of your time. And I've heard as well that the setup for a lot of the scenarios, which are detailed in this mission book, for example, they do take a while, right? They've also got the Mayhem book. The setup is a little bit fiddly, especially for the larger scenarios. So just make sure if you have some time before your friends arrive to play, you take the time to set it up before they get there, so you can just dive right in. Even if the gameplay is fairly straightforward. And that is the game. It's a big box. There's a lot in here, both for narrative, strategic decisions, tactical decisions, and just fun. I think it looks like it's a lot of fun to play. I like to store it back in a shrink wrap to keep the dust off, make sure that it's nice and fresh for the next time I pull it out. I recommend you do the same. Just got to get your technique down. It takes a little bit of practice. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is Legendary Tactics.